Hey everyone, how you doing? This is Amon Green, Green Bay Packers all-time leading rusher, and you're watching Packers Total Access Live, your daily source for Packer content. Go Pack, go!
What's up, guys? Welcome into Packers Total Access. My name is Clayton. You can check us out on Packernet.com. Find me on Twitter at Packers_Access. Joined alongside Tim in Green Bay. We got Jacob in Wisconsin. Jacob glitching out a little bit. We'll see how that holds up. For those wondering, StreamYard has been doing a bunch of updates. They're making things better. And in the process, they're causing the system to crash like crazy. So that's why we were a little late in here trying to get everything fine-tuned. Tonight, we're going to hit on Romeo Doubs' health a little bit, the concussion issue. We're going to hit on the Patreon questions. That's one of the questions that was asked in there. We're also going to hit on my top 5 Green Bay Packers, the 5 best players on the Packers roster currently. And then we'll wrap it up with just a little bit of talk across the board. So if you're new here, this is your first time tuning into PTA, welcome. Appreciate you tuning in to us. If you would, hit that like button, hit subscribe. If you're looking for daily Packers content, we're not experts here. We're not insiders. We don't claim to be. We're just fans just like you in here talking Packers, breaking down tape, doing post-game shows, pre-game shows, breaking news, training camp coverage, everything that you're looking for in Packer coverage. So we appreciate y'all being a part of the show. Again, just hit that sub here on the channel. As Andy Monday says, yes, 16 days until camp.
Get ready to go.
I'm fired up, sir. Absolutely fired up about training camp this year, and it's going to be a blast. I think we've got us a delay. I think we're glitched out. Tim, can you hear me, sir?
I copy 10-4.
All right, good deal. All right. This is going to be a wild show, I can tell you right now. Jacob already bounced out. He couldn't get his to quit glitching. Thank you, StreamYard. Appreciate the hard work you're doing over there to make things worse. But Chase Green in the chat says, Clayton, do you think Banks or Ryan will start at right guard? Banks will be starting at left guard, Chase, I believe. I could be wrong, but I think he's going to start at left guard. And I think Sean Ryan and most likely our boy Jordan Morgan will be competing for the right guard spot. Now, the plan seems to be that Jordan Morgan's going to compete at left tackle with Rasheed Walker. Me personally, I think it's going to end up being Jordan Morgan at right guard and Sean Ryan kind of as a swing guard. I hope that's the case. But you never know, man. Jordan Morgan wins the left tackle job and Sean Ryan starts at right guard. Aaron Banks, I feel like, Tim, will be playing at left guard. Do you have any reason to believe they would play him at right guard?
No. Other than an emergency, and probably because, Aaron Banks can handle it. He could probably play both guard positions, but I think it's no secret that we moved on from Josh Myers, right? And we made it pretty much public that Big E was going to go to center, and then we grabbed Aaron Banks. So I think Aaron Banks is replacing Elgton Jenkins at left guard, and I think the right guard spot is open between Jordan Morgan and Sean Ryan to compete for that. Now, if something changes with left tackle, it might make that decision that much easier. But I think Aaron Banks is your left guard to start the season for sure.
I think so too, man. I think what they wanted to do there is upgrade at center by kicking Elgton Jenkins over there and letting Josh Myers walk in free agency. And then you go and sign Aaron Banks, which I don't know if he's quite on the level of Elgton Jenkins when Elgton Jenkins is at his best, but the money would suggest they're expecting big things out of Aaron Banks. So excited to see what he does. Appreciate the question there, Chase. Let's go to the Patreon group here, Tim. And here are some questions that were posed in there. Mr. Allen in there says, in regards to keeper wide receivers, we seem to be ignoring, I think he meant keeping wide receivers, we seem to be ignoring Dobbs' concussion issue. I know he's a hell of a receiver, but you need to play. What I read with his history, it is unlikely he will be around. Also, Hobbs also has missed a lot of games. That is scary given our depth. So hopes is Bullard can step up maybe? Question mark. Yeah, I don't necessarily agree with the Hobbs thing. In terms of the Dobbs concussion issue, we've been talking.
I just caught the ball.
We've been talking about it all off season, man. It's a real issue. I mean, he's 1 or 2 concussions away from, hey, is this what I'm going to be doing the rest of my life? Now, if it's up to Romeo Doubs, Tim, I think I think that guy's going to continue to play. He is somewhat of a dog in that regard. I mean, out there with the Guardian cap on last year and still getting concussions, man, that's a tough look for sure.
I agree. And I will say this, though. I don't think it's a foregone conclusion that this is an issue. And I only say that because I was the guy last year that when Tua caught his 97th concussion of the year or whatever that was, I was convinced that he'd never play football again. And Tua made it back and he played football again. So I think when you look at Rome, you don't want to see a guy get concussed twice in a year, let alone that early in your career. But I don't think it's a foregone conclusion that this is a quote unquote issue, but it is something that we have to be aware of, right? And at any given moment, he could hit his head again and that might be it. So I think it's a valid concern, but I'm not going to just write him off as a guy that has, concussion issues just yet. I want to see how this season pans out.
Yeah, and I believe he just had 2 last year, and that was the first concussions he's ever had while he's been in the NFL, to the best of my knowledge. I could be wrong there. You guys correct me in the chat if that's not the case. I'm with Respect Orange. He says Tua's concussion looks so intense. It did, man. Yeah. You had the fingers kind of draw up. With Rome, it was, you could tell he was dizzy getting up, that type of thing. But man, when you lose control of your fingers and they all like clench up, that's a scary thing, man. Sure.
Yeah, absolutely. For sure.
All right. So moving on to the second part of his question, Alan said, also Hobbs has missed a lot of games. That's scary given our depth. So hopes his Bullard can step up. Maybe Bullard was our starting slot corner last year. He's now our backup slot corner, right? Hobbs is going to slide into that role. In terms of Hobbs, over his 4 years in the league, he played 837 snaps, 667 snaps, back up to 775 snaps, and last year he played 554 snaps. So to put that into perspective, last year Jaire Alexander played 361 snaps. Nate Hobbs played 554. So you're talking about almost 200 more snaps healthier than Jaire. In 2023, Jaire played 445 snaps, and our boy Nate Hobbs played 330 more snaps than Jaire in 2023. So, and then if you go back to 2021, which was 4 years back, Nate Hobbs' first year in the league, Jaire only played 219 snaps that season. Nate Hobbs played 837. So I don't see Nate Hobbs as an issue there in terms of, him not being available. Now, he plays physical, and we know, man, we love those physical corners until they get hurt, right? And once they get hurt, then you start to kind of second guess, all right, should they be lowering the shoulder like that, right? I'm not going to lie. I'm very excited about what Carrington Valentine put on tape last year, but I'm also a little concerned with how physical he is in the running game. I'm coming off of saying, man, Jaire doesn't want to tackle anybody all of a sudden, right? And I'm pissed off about it. And then I see Carrington throwing his body around. I'm like, slow down, young guy. Let's don't get hurt, right? So
what's the happy medium? Just wrap up, right? Maybe shoot your shot and just wrap up and make a solid tackle. Don't worry about lowering the boom like an edge rusher or a linebacker. Maybe that's what you tell your guys, but at the end of the day, you got to love a dude that's willing to stick his head in there and just make a play, right?
Yeah, for sure. All right, we got Jacob back in here. Jacob, you can hear me okay, right, bro?
I can hear you at the moment, but it's showing a low signal. So if I chop up, just let me know.
Gotcha. All right, let's give it a shot here, man. We'll see if it'll hold tight here, man. Jacob's so frustrated, he's ready to punch the screen. I love it. It's just awesome seeing other people get frustrated other than me. You know what I mean? I'm usually the guy that's pulling my hair out. Anyway, are you worried about Nate Hobbs staying healthy, as Alan mentions here? Or do you think it's not going to be an issue, man?
I'd be lying if I said I wasn't worried about all of our star players staying healthy. We've seen, for whatever reason, over the last maybe 4 to 5 years, that once these guys get their big contracts or whatever they just seem to catch that injury bug a little more than I'd like. Jaire, Gary, Kenny, pretty much every single person that it's a tough sport, obviously, so it's not necessary. I don't blame them personally or anything like that. am I worried? Yeah, I'm always going to be worried about injuries, to be honest.
Yeah, gotcha. So it's not anything specific to Nate Hobbs. It's just in general. Got it. All right. So Chris N.
Right.
All right. Chris N. in the Patreon group says Tyron Herring. I've been reading and watching as much as I can find on our rookies and UDFAs. Herring is my guy. He really closes on the ball quickly and tackles really well. I think he'll be a surprise player who will be getting significant snaps by mid to late this season. Wow, man, that's a bold prediction. I love it. I think he can really make it hard on Hafley as far as who to play opposite CV24. Tyron Herring, truther, y'all. Thoughts? All right, so what I thought, let's just go ahead and drop it down, and let's pull up his PFF card real quick. And
can I just tell you my first thought? My first thought was,
who?
Me too. I had to ask Tim. I'm like, so he's a UDFA. Where'd he come from? Well, Tim had to tell me he played for Delaware. The Delaware Fighting Blue Hens. All right. So I think Jacob put a softball team together over there at the office called the Fighting Hens, but I could be wrong there. Maybe it was never mind. We're not going to go down there. So 2021, his PFF grade 68.6. These are college PFF grades. He jumps to a 66.1, then up to a 71.4, and then last year the exact same score, 71.4. That grade looks pretty solid, man. I want to get your all thoughts on that, Tim. I'll start with you. I mean, I see what he's talking about. I'm at 6'2", 200 pounds. That's what PFF had him listed at. Big frame, big body corner. Someone who could play probably along the outside. Looks like he played out wide 308 snaps, and 71.4 2 years in a row ain't too bad, albeit it is Delaware and lower competition, obviously.
Yeah, I feel kind of bad that I didn't know who this guy was right away, because clearly, when you look at the tail of the tape, this is why we brought him in, right? I mean, he's a big body corner. If anything, he's been consistent. Looking at PFF grades, I mean, the pass rush is a little low, but that's not what you're looking for from a corner anyway. So I think it's cool. I see some kick coverage and punt return snaps in here as well. So, multifaceted dude. Yeah, like you said, man, 6'2", 200. I mean, that's right in the wheelhouse of what we're looking for. So, you can call it a camp body or whatever, but I think it's just, more competition in the cornerback room for training camp.
Yeah, Drew D in the chat said, did Herring start all 4 years? Drew, according to this, it doesn't show where they rank if they played, insignificant snaps. Looks like 22, 23, 24, he's actually ranked amongst corners. So I would imagine he started most of the time, albeit we could pull up his other card, but it's going to open it up in a separate window. So there's kind of no point in that. I would think it looks like he played significant snaps for the last 3 years. Jacob, what do you think about this? I know you're all about the bargain bin. You're all about the underdog story, man. What do you think about Tyron Herring?
Yeah, I'm definitely intrigued for sure. And, are they the best grades in the world? No, but I see consistency at least. You see a very high floor, for being possibly a guy. And I didn't realize that he would have that size, 6'2", 200 pounds. That's about kind of the type of shutdown outside corner that I'd like to have on the team, especially in a year where, we're trying to figure out who's going to be that starting rotation on the boundary or on the outside. And I feel like we've got more than enough interior depth or slot depth, whatever you want to call that. And I would love to throw this guy on the pile. And hopefully you have to think, though, that just out of all of these younger cornerbacks and UDFAs and late round draft picks, guys like Kalen King, that somebody's got to pop. You know what I mean? That somebody's got to take a step. And I wouldn't be surprised if it's Tyron Herring. I mean, I would totally love it. Like you said, I'm a bargain bin guy, so sign me up. I'm a Blue Hen fan.
Yeah, I think that's a great pull there, though, Chris. Thank you for bringing that up in the Patreon questions there. If you guys want to join the Patreon group, just go to patreon.com/Packer Fan Total Access or scan the QR code in the upper right. That's where you get access to the questions for the show and also entered into the giveaways, all the other extra stuff that we do here. Just a way for us to give back to those who are supporting the channel. Let's jump into the topic tonight, guys. The main topic here, and that is the top 5 Packers on the Green Bay Packers roster in 2025. Okay, so everybody in the chat, if you would, don't have to say why, but list them in order. Who are your top 5 Green Bay Packers on the roster right now? Okay, it's not who's going to have the best year this year. It's not who had the best year last year. It's simply who are the best football players on the Green Bay Packers roster in 2025 going into this season. I want to know your all's list. Would you guys like to take a crack at it before I hit my list, or would you like me to go ahead and hit my list and then we'll get y'all's feedback? How would y'all like to approach that?
I could. What do you, Tim? Do you have yours ready?
Yeah, I'm ready to go. You know,
I'm ready to go.
All right. And Jacob, if you would mark the chats as you see, we'll let Tim go first. Just help me mark the chats for guys that are listening. And list them all 5 if you don't care, guys. List all 5 in that order. Go ahead, Tim.
well, you know, I'm a defensive guy, so I'm going to start with X. Xavier McKinney is my number 1. Number 2 is going to be Josh Jacobs for me. Number 3 will be Jay Money, the dime thrower. He wears number 10 because he only throws dimes. Jay Love. Number 4 is going to be Zach Tom, the best offensive lineman that we have on this team. And then number 5 for me is going to be Frosty, a.k.a. Edge Coop, a.k.a. Mr. Michael Myers, Edrin Cooper. Top 5 right here.
Yeah, spoiler alert, man. Frosty made my top 5 as well. And I didn't even feel guilty about it. I didn't. Jacob, what about you, man? Let's hear your top 5. I'll watch the chat for you, man.
Okay. Yeah, I was actually surprised. A lot more people in the chat have the exact. I don't know about the rankings as far as 1 to 5, but my top 5 was going to be J Love, Josh Jacobs, Coop, Tucker Kraft, and X.
Nice.
Good stuff, man.
Throwing Tuck
Good
Norris
stuff.
in there. I like it.
You got. I think that he is one of the most slept on people in the NFL coming into 2025.
He's one of those dudes that, as I was compiling my list, he didn't make my list, but boy, I was like, man, this is a good problem to have. There's like 5 to 8 players that I could make a case for being in the top 5, and that's a really good place to be. 205 says, "Dang, y'all underappreciate." Let's go through the chat real quick. What you got marked there, and then we'll hit my top 5 here, Jacob. Let's hit them, man. All of them that you got marked so far.
All right, so we got Chase Green coming in here saying that Jacobs, Love, McKinney, Dobbs, and Cooper. Chase coming out with a
Romy Rome in the house.
Tool for this is Love, Jacobs, X, Wheelan, Kraft. So again, a little bit different there. Huh? Bates, Love, Jacobs, X, Cooper, Kraft. There you go. Me and him are on the exact same. Anytime me and Bates are saying the same thing, I feel smarter. Ron Sandville says Jordan, Jacobs, McKinney, Tom, Jenkins.
Like it.
Eric, what up, Eric? Mr. Sutherland, how you doing? We got him, and we've got, I believe, I thought I said Cheesehead Murph in here as well, but he says X, Love, Tom, Jacobs. If I had to change one, I'd try to figure out how to get Tom in there, but whatever. Braden says he's got X, Coop, Jacobs, Love, Kraft, another brilliant man there, obviously. Holmes, MD, Doc, Love, Jacobs, Cooper, Gary, and KC. That's an interesting one. Okay. He's not a doctor. Love, Coop, Jacobs, X, and Tom. Another popular group there. Chris, the Casual Packers Fanatic, says Love, Jacobs, McKinney, Tom, and Cooper. And we got Deadfish coming in with Jacobs. I'm assuming it's not me. It's probably Jacobs, but I'll take Jacob. X, Gary, Cooper, and Love. And Drew D's coming here. McKinney, Cooper, Jacobs.
Ooh, I like
Reed.
that.
I think that's the first time.
Love for the bird. I love it.
Yeah. Braden looked like, did he switch it up? X, Coop, Love, Tom, Jacobs. Brambo's up in here. What up, Brambo's saying?
What do y'all think this
is? Tom, Jacobs, Cooper, X, and Jenkins. That's a different one as well. Mr. Andy Monday, how you doing, bud? Tom, Love, Jacobs, Gary, Cooper. I think that's fair. Clint, Armchair QB says Jacobs, Love, McKinney, Cooper, and Evan Williams. Ooh.
Oregon's finest, baby.
That's a little different. Sure. The Lambeau Leap or the Lombardi Leap, is saying Josh Jacobs, Xavier McKinney, Jordan Love, Zach Tom, and Edge Cooper. Once again, a brilliant man there. Let's see. Greg Rice, X, Cooper, Love, Jacobs, Kraft. Right there again. Then there he is. Cheesehead Murph, Love, X, Jacobs, McManus, and Tom. So Cheesehead Murph's going out.
Tell you what, nobody will agree with that. Nobody will agree with that kicker take until you need a game-winning field goal, right?
Yeah, our guys better wake up with their piss hot, like I said before.
Yep. Vahan's in the chat saying Tom X Cooper, Love and Craft. Another brilliant man. Coach Len says Jacobs, X, Jordan, Tom, and Coop. All right.
Nice.
That's probably about it. It
Go.
looks like. And then, of course,
Stuff.
the 5 best rappers of all time. Dylon, because they spit out fire.
As I spit top 5. Yeah, man, those are the best, dude. I'm telling you. I need you to go over to Brooklyn and get me a sugar cookie. What was all the stuff?
I'm no
Take a
sugar cookie.
picture of a, he said, take a picture of a holding these balloons. All right, let's get into my list. Here we go, boys. The Green Bay Packers are poised for a strong 2025 season with the roster blending veteran talent and emerging stars. Below, we highlight the top 5 players on the team listed in the specific order or the specified order. Each bring unique skills that make them vital to the Packers' success. If this is your first time tuning into PTA, thanks for making us part of your day. We are not experts. We are not insiders. We are fans just like you. Go live daily, blah, 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 blah.
Right here.
There. All right, so here we go. Hell of a promotion right there, right, guys? You can tell I'm uncomfortable doing that stuff. Josh Jacobs, number 1 on my list. Josh Jacobs, Green Bay's Pro Bowl running back anchors the Packers' ground game in 2025. After signing with Green Bay in 2024, Jacobs quickly proved his worth as a workhorse back, combining power, vision, and breakaway speed. His ability to handle a heavy workload, evidenced by his 1,000-plus yard seasons with the Raiders, makes him a cornerstone of the offense. Jacobs' physical running style wears down defenses, while his improved receiving skills out of the backfield. I remember us talking about how good is he going to be catching the ball out of the backfield. Well, he was great last year. That adds that versatility. In 2025, expect Jacobs to remain the engine of the Packers' balanced attack, setting the tone for the offense. And guys, when you look at his PFF grades so far throughout his career, my goodness, starting in 2019, 87, 76, 79, 91, 65, 92. If this man can go out and get a ring and play for another 5, that's the top start he's gotten off to. And as Matt LaFleur said, gang, as much as we love him as a player, he's an even better person. I know we did an extensive breakdown, a deep dive into his background, growing up homeless for a short bit, his mother running off and leaving their family kind of high and dry, his dad picking up the slack and taking care of the family, and them having to sleep out of a car in a Walmart parking lot, all those things. Josh Jacobs at the top of my list, guys. And it's not for the feel-good story and the leadership either. This dude was running through MFers' faces last year, Tim. This was one of those that most people would probably say, it's a running back. You think he's the most important player on the team? Yeah, I do. I really do, man. He was the best football player on the Packers roster last year, in my opinion.
I would have to agree with that. And, we had that 5 minutes of glory when Aaron Jones and Josh Jacobs were teammates for, a few minutes, and we got really excited. But how lucky are we as a fan base to go from Aaron Jones to Josh Jacobs? You talk about the intangibles and the leadership, the off the field stuff, but then the fact that, these guys are top tier running backs. And I think what Josh Jacobs brings to the fold, maybe a little something that, Aaron Jones was more of a, shake and bake kind of guy. Josh Jacobs is a shake and bake guy, but he'll also lower the boom on you, and you got to love it. So I'm happy that he's a Packer for sure.
Yeah. What do you think, Jacob? Any disagreement here?
No, not at all. And like Tim referenced with the Aaron Jones thing, you guys remember, I'm pretty sure I was on record multiple times just saying how I completely disagreed with that decision, and that if the extra money was at $1 or $2 million, that would have made a difference between having Aaron Jones on that roster. And I supported Josh Jacobs from the beginning because I know what type of back he could have been. But I remember specifically saying, like, he has such big shoes to fill. I don't know if he's going to be able to pull that off. And at the end of the season, if I'm going to take a step back, and if most Packer fans took a step back, that they'd be convinced that he did fill Aaron Jones' shoes, not just one like you talked about on the field. Honestly, it was more off the field to me, because Aaron Jones was such a part of that community. He was such the epitome of what it meant to be a Green Bay Packer. And obviously with the stories with his mother and father and his brother and all the kind of memories that we have there, it's just like, how do you just let a guy like that walk? And you bring in a guy that at the time, I mean, you look at these PFF grades and you think, well, that's not really an unknown. But the 2023 season with a big old 65 being quite his worst, it's like, you want to do it now? You feel comfortable now doing this and pulling this, trigger? I could not be more pleasantly surprised and more admittedly wrong that was I think that might have been, besides maybe X, the best free agent signing of that season for any team, especially if you factor in the immediate impact. And like you said, the way that he walked into Green Bay and did not even shy away from the fact that he needed to be a leader of the team. He needed to be a community leader. He needed to take on a bigger role, like you said, catching balls out of the backfield. He had to be a workhorse still. And he just did it, quietly underneath the shadow of maybe two running backs having some of the best seasons that we've seen in modern football between guys like Saquon, even Derrick Henry, and a lot of those others. He's right there. He's in that group. I'd love to compare maybe their numbers, their attempts, their yards per carry, all that kind of stuff. If we ever have a little mini segment, we want to do that, because I do feel like that he is at least a top 3, top 4 all around back in the NFL right now.
Yeah.
Thanks, Goody. Appreciate it. Keeping it gangster.
Yeah, pretty wild, man. You're going to see, obviously, X is going to make my top 5 as well. And the fact that was the 2 free agent signings that Goody made, unbelievable, man. Respect Orange just says Glover's on Emilio's top 5, isn't he? I guarantee it.
So it's top 3.
Yeah, he's probably on his top 5 of all time, I would imagine. So. All right, moving on to number 2, surprise, surprise, Xavier McKinney. Xavier McKinney has solidified himself as one of the NFL's premier safeties since joining the Packers in 2024. His instincts, range, and ball hawking ability transform Green Bay's secondary. In his first year with the team, McKinney led the Packers in interceptions and showcased his knack for game-changing plays. His leadership and versatility, equally adept in coverage, run support, and blitzing, make him the defensive backbone. In 2025, McKinney's ability to erase mistakes and create turnovers will be crucial as the Packers aim for a deep playoff run. One of the things we noticed schematically last year, about halfway through the season, I remember LaFleur and Hafley told McKinney, hey, don't fall asleep on us back there, because he got so bored where offenses just stopped throwing his way, and they started rotating him into the box more to get him around the action a little bit, right? So it really, really says a lot about how McKinney played last year. In terms of PFF, starting with his rookie year, 70, 75, 61, 87, 84. So he's now put back-to-back years together, grading out in the mid to upper 80s, according to PFF. And obviously the stats follow along with it. He led our team in passer rating when targeted, with the lowest number there. He was tied. I think he was either tied or second in the entire National Football League in interceptions last year as well. Anything you guys want to add to the McKinney talk? Tim, go ahead, man.
X gonna give it to you. He gonna give it to you. That's it. That's all I gotta say.
You heard it from a fan right here. Jacob?
Yeah. I mean, what I'll say is if you wouldn't mind scrolling just a little bit back up, we've mentioned it multiple times on this podcast. We saw the possibility as to why Josh Jacobs may have been willingly cut, or not cut, but expendable to the eyes of the Raiders. Like, all right, he just had his worst season. If you look at the Giants front office, they said, all right, X had a little bit of a down year in 22. He comes back in 23 with the best year of his career. That's about the time we should get rid of him. And we're just like, okay, let's take those, let's take that charity right there. And for him to, again, put in that 84.7, he just immediately made this defense into an absolute contender. And I think it all stems from the fact that I think he's the leader of that defense. I really do. I don't know if we ever got a confirmation on whether or not he was quote unquote the green dot every now and then or that kind of thing. But like, I just think that he is the actual leader of that defense. And it might pain certain players like Gary or somebody like that to admit it. But honestly, I don't think it would, because these guys understand what respect is and how it's earned, not given in the NFL. You don't just walk onto a team and so I'm the best player now, so give me my flowers. It's like, nah, he came here, he worked, he grinded. That's what's in common with both of these, which I honestly believe are the 2 best players on our team. No matter what, I just think that those guys actually came in and put their money where their mouth is. I mean, and I couldn't be more impressed with the way they've both handled themselves.
Yeah. So again, the number one player on the roster, in my opinion, Josh Jacobs, 2024 free agent signing by Brian Gutekunst. Number 2 on the list, Xavier McKinney, free agent signing 2024 by Brian Gutekunst. Absolutely crushed that free. That's why when we signed Aaron Banks, when we signed Nate Hobbs, I had to take a step back and go, okay, let's give him a shot here, because I was really excited about the Xavier McKinney signing. You guys know with Josh Jacobs, I was a little bit like, because he had a down year the previous year. So, man, just an excellent job by Goody. Absolutely crushed it for sure. So, let's see what 2-0 for this says. Whoa, slow your roll. Goot doesn't make free agent signings. Yeah, ain't that funny, man? God, it just cracks me up. This year, people were complaining. They were complaining that we weren't active in free agency, and we went out and we spent an average annual value. At one point, we had spent more money than anybody else in free agency, like early on in the process. Like, what, you're disagreeing with the signing. Stop saying he isn't doing anything, And there were people that were really, really upset when he signed Josh Jacobs because they let, obviously, Aaron Jones go. I was more upset, like Tim said. We had a chance for it to be Aaron Jones and Josh Jacobs, and we missed it by 1 milli. That sucks. So moving on to number 3, Zach Tom. Zach Tom has emerged as a quietly dominant force on the Packers offensive line, a versatile lineman capable of playing tackle, guard, or center. Tom's technical prowess and athleticism make him a standout at right tackle in 2025. His ability to neutralize elite pass rushers while opening lanes in the running game has earned him recognition as one of the league's rising stars. Tom's durability and consistency provide stability for an offense that relies on protecting his quarterback and sustaining drives. His continued growth solidifies the line as a team strength. You look at the PFF grades, guys. Again, 4th round, Goody found him in the draft at pick 140. PFF grades 68, 79, 85 his first 3 years in the league. Another example here, guys, when we say if they crack the 60 mark as a rookie with significant play time, usually a good sign it's going to be a good football player. You see 68 his rookie year, jumps to a 79, jumps to an 85 last year. And what's wild about that 85 last year is he tore that pec. Didn't he? Was it a pec he tore? Am I thinking right, Tim? You know what happened? Yeah.
Yep.
Whatever it was a chest injury, right? A chest or a shoulder injury. They got it straightened out, but he played banged up the rest of the year. At the end of the year, exit interviews, he mentioned how it was bothering him all year long. He put out his best PFF grade while battling an injury that prohibits you from having your maximum ability of bench pressing 300-pound defensive linemen off of you. Think about that. And again, you lean on the technical aspect of the blocking, Jacob, and that's how you get that done. Man, what do you think about Zach Tom at 3? You think that's too high? You think that's about right?
No, I mean, obviously I left Tom off my list, so now I'm going to have to sit here and try to justify it. Here's what I'll say is that it's not that I think that Zach Tom isn't unbelievably important to this team and valuable. I just really do think that Tuck Norris has more of a presence and a leadership role right now. And he's just got a little bit, I think did they come in on the same draft class? They did, didn't they?
Of who? Who with?
Tuck and Zach Tom, Tuck Norris?
No. Tuck Norris came in the year after, I believe.
After, okay. And I guess that's another reason. It's just I feel like he's more of a vocal, that being Tuck. But if I had to redo this list and rank them in order of importance to the team, if it's strictly based on importance to the team, not who I think are the top 5 players, I think I'd sneak Zach Tom on there. He'd probably be my 4th or 5th. But I just I really love what he could be. The contract thing makes me a little nervous, and then just the fact that I want him to become more of a dominant vocal leader. Like, it just seems like the offensive line, ever since Bach left, there's nobody really willing to speak up and just be like the guy. You know what I mean? I want a psycho on that line. I want somebody that's just kind of grabbing people, smashing them in the head, and just be like, "You ready to go? You ready? Let's go!" And I just don't quite feel that presence there yet. That's why I'm high on maybe guys like Belton and stuff. So that'd be the only reason why I would have personally left Zach Tom either off the list or towards the bottom. But you look at those first 3 years, what we always talk about is progression. Is he a team guy? Is he willing to play through injuries? Well, he is absolutely leading the list in that right there. So I understand why you have him at number 3.
Got it. Tim?
I had him at 4 on my list, so I don't think we're that far off. And I think 3 is fair. I mean, arguably he's the third best offensive player on this team, behind Jacobs and Jay Money. So, yeah, I'm good with it, man. I agree.
All right. Good deal. Let's move it along to number 4. I was so excited to put this on the list, man. And I thought about, should he be 5? Should he be 4? Do I leave him off? But number 4, Edgerrin Cooper, a 2024 first-round pick, has quickly become a dynamic presence in Green Bay's linebacker core. His sideline-to-sideline speed and relentless energy makes him a perfect fit for the modern NFL, where linebackers must cover tight ends and running backs in space. Cooper's rookie season showcased his potential with standout performances in run defense and pass rushing situations. In 2025, as he gains experience, Cooper's instincts and athleticism will elevate the Packers defense, making him a key playmaker in the front 7. Again, guys, 85.7 PFF grade his rookie year, a run defense grade of 77.4, a coverage grade of 77.3. And when we run that scrape blitz or that green dog blitz or that delay blitz, my man had a 90 pass rush grade last year. So what I love to see on this graphic here, Tim, is notice the snaps, how they amped up and just kept amping up, right? It's almost like reading the stock market chart, baby. You just see the team got so much more confident in his ability to do what it is they need him to do. And I don't know if you guys seen his Instagram story the other day. Looked like he was in like a jacuzzi, a hot tub or something.
Yep.
And big screen outside watching tape of them playing the Vikings last year. You could see the telestrator on. It was absolutely – I'm like – not only does he have the physical tools, the traits, everything you look for in a Mike Backer moving forward, Tim, this dude is becoming a film junkie too in the middle of July. Absolutely awesome.
You got to love it, right? Like you hit it right on the head there, Clayton. Like you got all the physical attributes. You're an absolute freak of a physical specimen. You have great football instincts. You have great physical ability. But then on top of it, you're also extremely intelligent. And you're a student of the game. I mean, what is there not to like about Edge Coop, And I'm going to be honest, man. We this might prove to be one of Goody's all-time greatest draft picks, I think, when it's all said and done. Not to get ahead of my skis too much, but I think Coop's the real deal, and I think 2025 is going to be the year that we all see it for sure. I mean, you talk about last year, like it was kind of a slow start, and then they started peppering him in, and then all of a sudden this guy's getting reps. I got to think back to training camp, and if, Cooper wasn't dealing with the injury that he was dealing with that early in the year, I got to think we might have seen him sooner than we did last year. So if it weren't for the injury, sky would have been the limit in his rookie season. And, with limited reps, limited time, he still put together a rookie year like he did last year. And I think it's something to be excited about for sure going into year 2 with him.
Yeah. Jacob, man, it's pretty cool seeing all these lists and how many of these lists that Cooper made it. It makes me feel a lot better. I was nervous about it. I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah. He would definitely be probably either my last or 4th one ranked between him and Kraft, just as level of importance. But I also would probably backtrack that because we did that exercise, I think a week or so 2 ago, where we looked at the depth chart and the initial 53, the early 53-man roster, and the idea of not having Coop in that linebacker room to me is just catastrophic. Even with, if Quay even takes a step and McDuffie and Hopper, we know all that, right? Isaiah, but there's just something about him, and for him to get it this quickly and for him to be that productive and that fluid with the way that he is able to just intersect through NFL like offensive linemen that get paid way too much money to let a guy look like that in his rookie year. And like Tim said, the amount of snaps progressively got more and more and more because they saw, oh my Lord, we need to get this guy on the field as much as possible. Like it's very encouraging because we've all seen the years of whether you want to call them progress stoppers or maybe people that are under contract that we want to push them on the field. It was very encouraging to see the fact that, I'll give credit to Halfley, to Matt, hopefully to Gutekunst, that they said, all right, we got a diamond right here. We have a gem, an absolute, just an absolute diamond in the rough right here. And we got to get him on the field and we have to see what he's really capable of. And You know, I just remembered going back to his chalk talks, to his highlight reels, all that. You just see something special. And, you know, I think that, Clay, did you highlight a lot of these here? Where we got FM saying Cooper's going to be a top 3 linebacker. I mean, that sounds crazy, but I think it's real.
I do too.
Drew D saying Cooper may be number 1 at the end of the year. I completely believe that. Talking about how he could go to Canton. You know, like Tim said, we don't want to get over our skis here, put the cart before the horse, whatever the cliche little thing you want to say. There's something different about him. Yeah. And it does it. The last time that I saw somebody come on that fast, that early, was AJ Hawk. And I don't know if you know, he's going to have the type of career that AJ Hawk did. But right now, if I was a betting man, I'm leaning in quite a few chips. I'm pushing a big old stack in.
Another thing I love about Coop is the fact that the guy could win Defensive Player of the Year, lead the league in tackles, lead the league in pressures, and then he would look you in your face and say, there's a lot of things I need to get better at. You know,
exactly.
Like, no matter how good he plays, he's always looking to get better, and you got to love a guy like that for sure.
I'm glad you brought that up because Jason Wilde a couple months ago was talking about how he I'm pretty sure it was Cooper he was talking about at, you know, locker clean out and everything. It's like he was a little hard on himself.
Yeah.
Those are the type of guys that go to the next level, man. That's just the way it is, really.
Because at the end of the day, your coach can motivate you, right? The fans can motivate you. Your teammates can motivate you. You know, training staff can motivate you. But if you can't dig within yourself and want to be better and be the best every day, then, you know, you're not going to really succeed at the next level or be an upper echelon type player in this league. You know, the best of the best that we talk about, the Hall of Famers, you know, we talked about, is he going to Canton someday? They're cut from this cloth. They never accept, you know, just being good. They always want to get better. And I think Coop is definitely cut from that cloth for sure.
Definitely. MG Toe Legion said he got his Cooper jersey already. He also goes on to say Cooper can go to Canton. Listen, it's way, way early, but based off what we've seen so far, I ain't pushing back on it. Deadfish says, if you're happy with a rookie having PFF scores in the 60s, how do you feel about an 85.7?
Let's go. I love it.
Ed Madden says, Coop literally doesn't have a ceiling. He can go through the roof. We got Ed Madden back in here says, and he's only going to get better. You know, I'm not going to pump the brakes at all if he takes a slight step back this year, because there is such a thing as a sophomore slump. But if his sophomore slump is he grades out in the mid-70s or something like that, get ready. Because I'm telling you, if he grades above a 70 this year, and you look at the passer rating when targeted, when he's in coverage, and all these different aspects of his game, and he stays towards the top, man, buy stock in that, buying it for sure. So Drew D says, I actually think he's very important. The Packers D has historically gotten torn up at linebacker and lost us a ton of games. Completely agree with that, Drew. Again, I catch a lot of hell because I put Mike linebacker as you know, a tier 2 position of importance. The only thing on defense that's more important than Mike backer, in my opinion, is a 3 tech and an edge defender. Next, it's Mike, then it's post safety, in my opinion. So I completely agree with that. Chase Green says, Clayton, do you like Cooper in the seam coverage or in the box more? Yes. The answer is yes. I like him at both. He can do both, man. Now, here's the thing. Like, we seen against Jacksonville when Christian Kirk got hurt, that was Cooper covering the seam in a Tampa 2 call, right? And not that you want to see anybody get hurt, but his athletic ability to be able to get back there, time up the pass, and as soon as at the catch point, knock the ball out, you could tell it caught Christian Kirk completely off guard. He didn't expect him to be able to get back there the way he did. Me personally, though, if you had to choose game on the line, one play, I would rather have Quay covering the seam because that's what he does probably better than anything else in his bag of tools. And I would like to have Coop playing underneath because Cooper attacks with aggression. He's very, very, very decisive, especially in the running game as well. Like he does not try to think, you know, a split second guy, a quarter of a second, right? That can be the difference of whether you get blocked out of a play and they gain a hat on you or not. Cooper is a half a second ahead. Like you get some of these veteran players like Bobby Wagner that we've seen, they've lost a step, but they're so damn smart on the football field. They're a half a step ahead of everyone else. You've seen that with Cooper. Now, I try to pause the excitement on it because when you step back and hear Matt LaFleur and them talk about it, Matt LaFleur and Jeff Hafley, they always talk about, well, he needs to learn where to be, right? Sometimes he jumps into a gap that he isn't supposed to be in, but then you look up and go, damn, he made the play, right? So now that could be them being great coaches and great leaders, trying to curb that enthusiasm a little bit on him. Don't let you get too high on yourself type thing. That could definitely be the case as well. But yeah, I would rather him play underneath closer to the ball chase and let Quay run the seam. But the beautiful thing about our nickel 4-2-5, it's very interchangeable. One motion over causes Coop to cover the seam instead of underneath, and vice versa with Quay. So it really just depends on who you're playing that week and what the call is. Aaron Rodgers' agent says Cooper and Evan Williams will be our Ray Lewis and Ed Reed combo.
That'd be great.
I'm just going to tell you right now, man, if Evan Williams and Edgerrin Cooper end up being 3/4 of the players that Ed Reed and Ray Lewis were, we're getting a Super Bowl. I'm just telling you right now. Those two dogs on the football field. United Bates, Coop and Quay weren't even on the field much together. We may see next level Quay unlocked. And when
tell them, Bates. Tell them. Let the people know.
When they were on the field together, Bates, you kind of seen it with Quay. Like,
was it only one game that they started together or something like that? They played significant snaps.
Could you imagine being a running back in the backfield and look across that line and see Edgerrin Cooper and Quay Walker as stack backers? 2 6 foot. They're both 6'4", right? I mean, just yeah. Greg Rice Coop equals heat-seeking missile. We got a super chat from Chuck. Sorry it took a second to get to that, buddy. Appreciate you for the dono. How do you say Goody's last name?
Gutekunst.
Yeah, you sound like my man Pat McAfee.
I was gonna say, Pat. I like the way Pat McAfee says it because he really gets the pronunciations. But to me, it's Gutekunst. Yeah,
Gutekunst. Yeah, you know,
some people say Gutekunst, but
where I'm from, you always
potato.
You always subtract a syllable where I'm from. You just blend it in together. You know what I mean? So I say Gutekunst.
Louisville.
I don't know. I'm not a doctor.
Man, Gutekunst. I say Gutekunst. All right, Chuck. Appreciate the super chat.
I just call him Goody the Goat, baby.
Holmes says, "Nah."
Love it. All right. Oh boy, let me tell you, those tweets have got the Rashawn Gary haters all upset. It's hilarious watching them dance around the numbers as if they don't matter. The same people that last year were saying we need more sacks. Now they're saying the sacks ain't everything. Gotcha. All right. Number 5 on the list, guys, Jordan Love. All right. Here's what we got. Jordan Love rounds out the list as the Packers franchise quarterback entering 2025 with growing confidence and command of the offense. After a breakout 2023 season, he began the season with a knee injury week 1 against the soon-to-be Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles, followed by 2 additional injuries later in the season. In spite of playing hurt all year, Love had a strong 2024 campaign, proving he can lead Green Bay in the post-Aaron Rodgers era. His arm talent, poise under pressure, and ability to extend plays with his mobility when healthy make him a dual-threat signal caller. Love's chemistry with the Packers' young receiving core continues to develop, and his toughness playing through injuries is cut from the same cloth as Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers. In 2025, Love's leadership and clutch performances will be pivotal for a Super Bowl push. I couldn't agree with that more. The fact that he went out there and played with those injuries last year, there's just something different in the water in Green Bay for these quarterbacks, man. They're going to be on that field with their teammates, hell or high water, and I absolutely love it. And when you look at Jordan Love and his PFF grades, obviously 2021 was minimal snaps, 36.2. 2022, minimal snaps again, but a 78.7. You guys remember they played in Philly. He hit Christian Watson on that crosser when Aaron went out injured, and it was like, hold up, we may have us something here. And then in 2023, he took it from a 78.7 all the way up to an 83.6. Last year, battling those 3 injuries, hobbling around all damn season long, not being able to play under center the way that Matt LaFleur wants you to because of the knee injury, still finished with a 75.8. That's pretty darn remarkable, in my opinion. So, and again, he led the entire National Football League with a banged up leg, a banged-up knee. He led the entire National Football League in passes of 20-plus air yards or more that were completed. He had 24 completions of balls that had that traveled through the air 20 yards or more led the entire National Football League in that statistic. But what do you guys think about Jordan being number 5? Is it too high, too low? Should I have kept him off the list? What do y'all think?
You can't ask me that question because I had him at 3 on my list. So, definitely not too high. And in my opinion, I think it's important that he's in the top 5. I think it's great that you rounded out the list with our QB1. And how do you not love a guy that gives us legendary quotes like,
I don't listen too much Taylor Swift.
That's my man right there. What do you think, Jacob? Did you have Jordan Love on your list, Jacob?
Yeah, I did. Yep. I feel like that as a quarterback, you kind of almost have to get kind of, what's the word? I guess rush to that top 3 just because you're the leader of the team. You're literally the field general. You're the guy that's going to be, making key decisions in key games. I would think that number 3 is where I would probably put him on that list. And I think that the first 2 with yours, I would agree with. I think that Jacobs is first, X is second, and I think Love, with all due respect, and I do think that he has the capability of, if he comes out and has a 4,500 yards, passing, he's got 35 tuds, maybe under 10 interceptions, he immediately becomes the number 1 most important person on this team. And more if I just see the decision making and key situations come back, that's what's going to make me really happy.
Yeah.
Breaking news, AFAM thinks that Jordan's ranked too high on your list. Shocker.
Look, this is me acting surprised.
Yeah.
Good.
He's not Pat Mahomes, so of course.
I don't think he got enough love from his mama. You know what I mean? I think that's why he hates Jordan Love. There's a whole thing there.
Jordan Love didn't get enough love from AFAM's mama?
Well, no.
Is that what you said?
No, everybody knows they can come see AFAM's mama. They can come see her at the pole with me pretty much any night. And
those eyebrows, man.
Lovely lady.
I'm telling you. All right, White 009 says, you know what's funny? J-Love played like that, and bear in mind he wasn't able to practice most times during the week. That's stuff that people don't talk about enough, man. Missing practice time, missing creating that chemistry at a different level during that time for sure. Jake G126, is there any info on the PTA fan? Let me come back to that, Jake. I'm going to keep that marked, all right? Drew D says, I'm hoping Golden helps Love out as well. We got a really cool piece that's up over on Patreon on Savion Williams and how I feel like the addition of Savion Williams and Matthew Golden will help fill that void of Christian Watson being hurt for probably half of the season, with Savion playing some of the wingback stuff that we like to put Christian in, and then also Matthew Golden taking the top off the defense. Drew, I'm hoping for that too, man. I feel like we'll know pretty soon if Golden's the real deal or not. Not that we'll write him off if he doesn't come out with his hair on fire, but I think quarter of the way through the season, I think we'll have a good grab of, okay, how impactful is this guy going to be his rookie year? Because I think Matt LaFleur is going to give him a shot. I think much like Christian Watson his rookie year, they're just going to throw him out there and let him try to eat for sure. So
we figured it out quick.
AFAM, go ahead.
AFAM's mom said that, and it's just because he was a little stubborn sometimes. It's from the bullying, the constant bullying that AFAM got, We understand now, bud. We get it.
We got it. Got it. All right. Honorable mentions. Just missed in the top 5 were players like Rashawn Gary, the Packers sack leader, and Jordan Love's favorite target, Jaden Reed. Also worth mentioning is Christian Watson, when healthy, finishing second in the NFL with 21.4 yards per reception, only trailing Alec Pierce. How cool is it that I feel really comfortable saying that Jaden Reed and Christian Watson would land in my top 10 on the team? And that's exciting, especially if Christian Watson can come back this year, prove, hey, the knee's not going to be an issue, get him some kind of an extension, and keep him on the roster. Now, could you imagine 2026, Christian Watson on one side, Matthew Golden on the other, and Jaden Reed in the slot? Bro, that's so exciting. So exciting. So, again, you guys let us know, as we said right here, looking ahead, the Packers 2025 roster is loaded with talent, and these 5 players, Josh Jacobs, Xavier McKinney, Zach Tom, Edgerrin Cooper, and Jordan Love, represent the heart of the team, from Jacobs' punishing runs to McKinney's defensive playmaking. Tom's protection, Cooper's tenacity, and Love's quarterbacking. Each player brings something special. As Green Bay chases the championship, this core group will lead the charge, blending experience, youth, and hunger for success. Let us know in the comments who your top 5 are, and make sure you hit that subscribe button, and so you don't miss out on the other content. So everybody, if you're watching this later, you're not on the live stream with us, let us know in the comments. Just list them right in order from 1 to 5, who your top 5 best players on the Packers roster is. And there you go, man. I'm glad we did that. That was a lot of fun, man, for sure. Jake G126, here's the question of the night. Is there any info on the PTA Fantasy Football League? Yeah. So, guys, what we do with the Patreon group, anybody who's a member of the Patreon community, you have an opportunity to enter yourself into the Fantasy Football League. If we get enough people this year to where they, like we run out of spots, I think we did that last year, if I remember correctly, then we may create a secondary league, but you're going to want to be in the first one. You're going to want to sign up quick when we get it going because there's probably going to be a better prize for the winner with the first one. Last year, Carly ran it for us. I know Carly's been busy. I'm sure she's, taking care of way more important stuff than dealing with us knuckleheads on this stream. So we need to find someone to head that up unless I hear from her. Okay. I definitely don't want to bother her with, hey, will you run the fantasy league again? So
I'll make it happen if it doesn't work.
Okay. So Jacob's going to run one. All right. So you'll run the A team one. Okay. And then if we get an overflow, Jacob, what we'll do is have someone in the chat that is big on fantasy football. You guys kind of nominate yourself in the fantasy chat in our Patreon group. Okay. Just go ahead and say, hey, I'll be glad to run a league. Just here's the thing. I understand everybody's busy. I'm way too busy to do it. I can't keep up with it to commission it. But if you volunteer yourself, just make sure you got the time to do it. Whoever chooses to run that secondary league. And if you can't do it, it's totally cool. Nobody's, you know what I mean? I get it because everybody's got stuff going on, family, work, the whole 9 yards. But, man, I got to be honest, man, it was fun. Tim, was it not a blast keeping up with it last year, watching that league kind of unfold?
It was fun because I know you're like me. We're not fantasy football guys, but it was cool to kind of keep track and see who was up each week, and the trash talking and everything in the chat. That's something to love. So I'm a big part of it. I might even jump in the league this year. I'm not saying I'm going to. I might do it. And Jacob might pressure me. We'll see what happens.
There were prizes last year too. Like first place won the most money. Like there was an entry fee, right? And first place won the most money. So I think second and third had a prize as well. And what we'll do too, if we get to a point with the flow over league, I might throw in some memorabilia, something like that to kind of sweeten the pot. So Jacob, thank you for volunteering for that, man. And anybody else who wants to volunteer in case we need a second league, just let us know in the fantasy football chat over there on Patreon. Does anybody else got anything else before we wrap up here? Anything at all?
Just hoping Jacob will help me set my lineup each week if I join the fantasy league.
So you want Jacob to win this league for you, so you can pocket money.
I need some technical advisement on the fantasy team. Help me out, bro.
Yeah. So this was our fantasy chat from last year, just to kind of show you how it's set up. And these are all the chats you get access to when you join our Patreon community. So really, really cool stuff there. Jacob, you got anything else you want to hit before we wrap up, man?
No, we'll have to cover it as we go forward and maybe get everybody's, because the big thing in fantasy is you got to figure out when you can draft. If everybody's at the same on the same page, you want to wait usually as long as you can, just so you know that you're not drafting people that end up having season-ending injuries and like preseason, that sort of thing. So it's just really, there's a lot of planning involved. I know.
Wait, you don't wait till the last minute and just hit auto draft and
well, you'd be surprised. Sometimes that works for certain people, but it's a lot. And what Carly did with the first, I warned her that she did a super flex IDP and a PPR league.
I love that beer.
Like it was, which just means it's a lot. So if you aren't super excited about fantasy football and you just want to get the basics, maybe one of the leagues will be a little more rudimentary, and then the other ones would be a little more like kind of cool, but we'll figure it out. I have way more money involved in fantasy football already at this point than I'll ever admit to my family. So, we'll make sure that we'll have at least, if you want to play, I'll guarantee you that I'll give you an opportunity to play at some point. So we'll make it work.
You're the man, Jake. Appreciate you, buddy. Watched Green and Gold last night. I enjoyed it. That was a good movie.
Did you? I really liked it. Maybe it's just because I don't know. I really liked it.
If someone's not a Packer fan, it's not going to hit as hard, No. But I thought it was put together. It was just a simple movie, and you don't see those nowadays. You know what I mean?
It was like I was expecting it to be very kitschy, very cheesy. It was good writing, great cinematography. Like the photography and cinematography were amazing. And it didn't end the way I thought it would end. I thought it was be very cheesy, kitschy. It was just more real. It was more of, in my opinion, it's more of like a farm family story with a little bit of a love story than a Packers movie. But the Packers are peppered in between it. And I like that.
Yeah. It was good, man. It was good. If anybody hasn't seen it, I think it's worth a watch.
What did Mandy say?
I think she was judging me because my eyes were watering a little bit, and I noticed some tears dropping down her cheeks. So it was good. If you come from the country like I did, like when I was born, we lived in the housing projects, and we moved to a trailer, and then we moved 5 times in 1 year because we would just squat, wouldn't pay rent, get kicked out, all that stuff. Like if you've had to struggle a little bit in life, it stuff like that really hits home, man. Like you probably hear it in my voice right now because it makes you into the person you are. And then when you tie that in with this awesome team that we love in the Green Bay Packers and the community owned and this and that, and then it's kind of the backdrop is a farm family in that area. And it's just, I don't know, it hit for me. And I'll be honest with you, man. Mandy, when she first sat down, she said, "How is it?" I said, "It's a little slow. It's a little slow. Like one of those movies that starts slow." By the end of it, I was like, I just want to go to bed. I was emotionally, you know what I mean, done. But everybody else will watch it and go, "It wasn't nothing." They didn't get me teared up, Clayton. But again, man, like
I like Drew D's comment here. A lot of times the lower budget films have better cinematography and writing because they don't have special effects. They don't have the huge budget and all the bells and whistles. I think that's a great point for sure.
Yeah, for sure, man, for sure. Coach says, what platform is it on? It's on Prime. Jacob told me to check it out on Prime. I just went ahead and bought it. I want to say it was like $10 or $15 to buy, but you can rent it for like $5, right, Jacob?
Yep. And it's on Angel Studios too, if by chance you have a subscription with them.
Yeah. And I won't watch it again. I probably should have just rented it because I don't want to get emotional again. It takes me back to my younger days, and I blocked a lot of that stuff out. But wife and I, there's Ron saying, "Well, wife and I loved Green and Gold. It was really good. Look at Holmes. Clayton needed to be held. LOL." It's true. It's true.
Hold me.
All right, guys, we're out of here. Thank y'all so much for making us a part of your evening. We really appreciate it. Everybody on the podcast, I don't say this enough. Thank y'all so much for supporting us on the podcast. It truly is the lifeblood of what we do. We didn't expect the show to morph into a YouTube show, so we try to explain stuff enough that it's worthy of a podcast as well. But really, really appreciate just everybody's support all the way around, man. We're 11 days away from quarterbacks reporting. We're just about there. We got a bunch of film to break down. We got Christian Watson Chalk Talk coming up. We got Rashawn Gary Chalk Talk coming up. We got Savion Williams Chalk Talk coming up. I'm going to try to put a couple more together as well. We got to get this stuff in, boys, before it gets here because we're going to be looking up and covering training camp here real soon. So,
yep.
All right. Everybody have a wonderful evening. As always, let's go out and be the change we want to see in the world and go back.
There we go.
Bye, guys.